music people. We are back with episode 13, which means it's going to be an unlucky episode for some.
Oh, I hope not.
And it means that I'll probably speak a load of nonsense.
Well, I really hope you don't speak a load of nonsense just for...
You've heard that for the last 13 episodes, or 12 episodes, haven't you? So
for myself
and... It'll be nothing
new,
guys. It'll be nothing new.
Well, welcome back to Black Friday week. Black Friday week is upon us. I've already spent way too much money. Yeah. And it's not even Black Friday yet.
I've invested as well. It's always a good time to invest in the home studio. Or at least get sucked into investing in the home studio, isn't it?
I'm thinking, I want to buy a new desk, but you know how much desks are? I don't know. Should I?
I built my own just because, producer desks are so expensive. And I thought, I'm just gonna build my own. Because if you get the parts and just get, a DIY to screw it all together, it's just cheaper, so...
Yeah, that's what I want to do. I've got a bunch of rack gear though, and I don't want it underneath the desk anymore. I want it up here so I can. Guys, it's just one of those things. It's very producer very problems. Much for first world and producer problems. I don't want to come down here to gain stage. I'd rather do it up here. It's just. I know it sounds bad, but hey, happy Black Friday week and a happy Thanksgiving week, all you US listeners out there. We hope you have a really good Thanksgiving holiday with family and hopefully you don't get COVID. Simple as that.
Simple as that. Stay safe out there. But, are they doing any kind of lockdown restrictions in the States, or is it just...
You see, being from the UK, this will confuse you because here, the UK is very much one law, the different... boroughs and counties don't have their own laws, but here every state has their own law. So where I am, there's nothing in Indiana, and Indiana is one of the worst cases. Oh, shit. So right now there's the hospitals are overwhelmed again and all that stuff. But California are very strict with it. Right. New York are very strict with it. So it just depends, man. It's hard to keep up. I'd rather just turn it off and make sure I keep myself safe.
Totally. Well, we've went into tier 4 now, which for all intents and purposes for anyone listening means that we're pretty much back to lockdown. And that I think is just because in Scotland they're trying to potentially ease it for Christmas so that there'll be some sort of get together with our families. But I think the whole thinking is that they'll make it a bit tighter now so that then they can open it back up just for a couple of days around Christmas. But who knows, Tom, what will happen. It's ever changing and we'll just need to see. So fingers crossed, guys, that we'll have a Christmas that we can see our families and stuff. But
well, I mean, you say lockdown.
2020.
Yeah, exactly. There's plenty of time to sit and make some music though. So there's one plus side.
It's something that hasn't, for me, luckily stopped, which has kept me sane throughout all this, is music. So, speaking of music, shall we go into our first song of the week?
Yes, let's please, because we've got some great tunes this week.
We do.
And more importantly, Andy, we've got some exclusive listens to the Songwriters Lounge podcast.
Yeah.
The first 2 songs are exclusive Songwriters Lounge. Early bird, if you like, listens. Both songs are out December 2nd.
Yeah, so you've got your early bird tickets here, guys.
And it's free, so don't forget.
It is totally free, absolutely. So, here we go. Get your maracas ready, people, because this first one is going to get you in the mood. This is from Red.
Hey, guys, Red here. I'm a local singer-songwriter from Knoxville, Tennessee, and I have a new song dropping. It's called Heavyweight. The song officially releases on Friday, December 4th, and I hope you can check it out. Heavyweight, this is a first-time listen.
He told me he liked gold. Chooses me, my skin. What it is
Yes. Red.
Yes.
Smash this one. Smashed
Love
it. Oh,
Love
man.
that.
When
if
I hit
was
play.
a dancer, Tom, my hips would be grooving to that vibe.
Me too. I can't dance to save my life. So,
No, me neither.
well, thank you, Red, for letting us play it before it's out. As Red said, it's out December 4th, which is next Friday, I believe. So you get at least a week early just to listen to that little snippet.
You do,
and then,
you
of
do.
course, we'll add it to our Spotify playlist. As you guys know, I love this track because I love Latin and flamenco music. And, of course, I love acoustic music. And it kind of combines all of them. And Red is just awesome. I did an Instagram live with her a while ago, and we both played some original music. And she played this song, I remember, and I remember being like, wow, this is a really cool song. But I did not expect the full release of it to have all these kind of finger bells and shakers and the gyro. I'd never know how to pronounce it. If you're Cuban, you know how to pronounce it. The kind of washboard thing that.
The kind of
Yeah, that just adds that kind of Latin groove to that song, which is awesome. And also the way Red performs the kind of acoustic chuck guitar, that dun 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 dun, like all adds
well
to that.
played.
Yeah, very well played. And the acoustic nylon string guitar that is recorded so well. Like the brightness and the warmth of those nylon strings coming through is lovely. Like it's just there's no other word for it. The drum kit, again, kind of the way they've mixed it is with that kind of acoustic Latin, sit nicely in the background, just kind of hold that groove there, which has been done brilliantly. I think if you added more of the drum kit, it would have taken stuff away. One thing that I might have done is I would have turned that percussion up a little bit, and I would have probably saturated the percussion bus, not the drum bus. I would have added all that Latin percussion and saturated it maybe on some kind of side chain with some EQ, and just to bring it up a little bit, and just kind of bring that energy through, especially for all the little finger bells, and I thought that was really cool. The vocal melody is awesome. I especially love the scat section. It's so cool. Like, I love it that I can imagine Red sitting there writing it and doing that and being like, why don't I just keep that in the song? It's so catchy.
And I loved how it fused, because that's quite a jazz thing, isn't it? Scat.
Oh, yeah. It's almost
fusing jazz with Latin, and it's like, love it.
It's almost in a kind of a jazzy kind of rhythm.
Yeah, true, actually. A bit syncopated, yeah.
Yeah, very. Again, I liked it. And it had an electric keyboard solo, which I always love. Can't play the keys that well. Yeah, I love solos. Bring back the 80s, man. But yeah, as I said, I would have maybe just saturated that percussion bus. I would have done it with a percussion bus anyway if I was mixing it. I don't know who had mixed it, if they just put it all through one bus, but I would have definitely done them separately. And for me, the ride cymbal and the drum kit was a tad overpowering in the 5K range. So I would have definitely brought that down a little bit, just in that kind of tingy range, cool. For a ride cymbal. They're always a pain to mix anyway. So, and I would have loved just some flamenco guitar lead lines. I love flamenco guitar. That's just me personally. But Red, man, like you just smashed this one. I loved it from the minute I pressed play to the minute it was over. Really enjoyed it.
And it sounds so good as well, because it's early.
Yeah, exactly. And it's early.
Completely. It's like we shouldn't be listening yet. It's exciting.
I know. I love it. I feel like a kid on Christmas morning.
Yeah, exactly. No, I loved it. It was it's the kind of thing like straight away visually, I can see people dancing to this. Like instantly I was taken to a restaurant in Spain or something where I had a lovely Rioja glass of red wine. And I was sitting under the stars and there was a buzz around us, and then in come these band people, and they just play this kind of instrumental, and everyone just gets up out their chairs and they start dancing. And I look around and everyone's dancing so much better than me because they're Spanish, and I'm like, oh, my hips don't lie like Shakira.
My hips don't lie like Shakira. There's a classic Andy quote right there.
So no, I really did enjoy this overall vibe. It was class. The guitar riff was well played and really like stylistic with the Latin vibes that are coming through. So I just really enjoyed it. I love a shaker. I love a little shaker. And
there,
that was
there in the background.
It was in there. I loved that. And she has a lovely like vocal. It's like really a distinctive style that she's like singing in, like the way she's, you know, using her words, and again with that scat singing, that was really cool. So yeah, I just really enjoyed it. If anything, for me, I lost her voice just at times in the mix. Just vocally couldn't work out some words, so the story, like, I kind of lost a wee bit. But I mean, really, there's not an awful lot that I could really pick out here. I guess in some sense, because I just loved the rhythm, I would have brought out the percussion a wee bit more as well. So I don't know if that would just be a bit more compression, or just up that drum and percussion bus a couple of dB. But like, especially like what you're saying, Tom, see all the kind of little intricate percussion elements like the scraper and handbells and stuff, and all that is just recreates that vibe which I was kind of saying that I was visualizing, which is that kind of live Latin, on holiday feel, where these instruments are all around you decorating that stereo field. And yeah, just a wee bit more of that really. But to be honest, I loved that track. I was right in the mood.
Me too.
Right, dancing in my chair. And yeah, I'm just so thankful that you sent it early and we're able to share it with our audience. And let us know what you think, guys, because if you are dancing, or at least attempting to dance like me, then let us know.
Yeah, you're dancing better than us, let me tell you.
You're definitely dancing better than me, let's put it that way. So yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Red.
On to the next one, which is a different song, which we love. We love variation on the show. And this is sent in by Andy Greenwell.
Hey, this is Andy Greenwell, and you're listening to Molly exclusively early on Songwriters Lounge podcast, out December 2nd.
Oh, I love it, mate.
R.I.P. me, man. That was unreal.
Oh,
so
dude.
Damn catchy.
Andy posted a preview on his Instagram like 2 weeks ago, and I was like, Andy, mate, please let us play this on the show, because I was hooked instantly. It's probably the best chorus hook I've heard all year. I don't think I've heard a better hook in terms of as soon as it comes in, you're like, wow.
Cool. Honestly,
that's
that
good.
Chorus hook is the bomb. Like, even the verse hooks.
Yeah,
like,
everything.
See when you kind of went, like, he did those intervals. It was unreal. Like, there was a bit where he did a vocal hook and he went kind of down.
Oh yeah. No, I know exactly what you're talking about.
I'd hum it if I could remember, but that was just, oh, what a melody. Yes.
So it's one of those ones as well that you, after the second time of hearing it, you know the words already. Baby, like already you're singing along and you're having a good time with it, which is what I love. But what a chorus! And for me, I love so Andy is like world-class keys player. He's from Indianapolis. He's pretty much on every local record. He's like that good a keys player. Class. So when I heard that synth patch at the start, I was like, yes, this is the kind of stuff he plays on his Instagram. It's so good. And I love it how it starts with the chorus melody on a synth. True. I love it. If you have that good of a hook, use it multiple times in a song. Very clever songwriting. The vocals are performed really nicely. It's sitting in kind of like a higher range, like the higher range of Andy's natural timbre through the whole song. Like until he kind of takes those little riffs down, like you said. But everything is so clear. His diction is very good. Yeah, understood every word, which is something that doesn't get spoken about enough. I just love 80s music, and I love 80s synth music in general. And this was just right in that category for me. Mate,
it was like Phil Collins could have wrote that.
Yeah.
That was like where it took me. I was like, because Phil Collins, I am such a fan of his chorus hooks, and like his music is obviously, it speaks for itself, amazing. So for me to instantly it wouldn't be wrong in my mind if you told me like, oh hey, like I just came across this demo from like Phil Collins's back catalogue that's never been released. Check it out, Andy. I'd be like, oh, that sounds like a Phil Collins song. So that's like, yeah, I loved it, man.
Yeah, it's like a modern Easy Lover kind of vibe, isn't it?
Easy
very much.
And
it has a key change. Again, we're going back to the whole 80s thing. Like, if you can add a key change in a song, like, people are just going to relate to it. And I'm talking about people that don't necessarily understand music or theory. They just love a good key change because you grow up with it as like, as we are like millennials, and we grew up with Disney films, and there's a key change in every bloody Disney song. So you just, it's something
when the boy band gets off the stool and they take that step forward.
And I especially enjoyed how Andy brought it into the key change with a vocal riff being the predominant. If you go back and listen to the bridge and then it goes into that, like Andy does this riff and it just takes it up to that. I'm pretty sure it's an upper third that it's taken it up to, but I loved it. And I know Andy had our mutual friend Dan Giffen produce the track, and Dan is a fantastic producer. He's one of the only 100 people in the world that is trained and certified to teach Ableton Live. So he's quality. They're in a band together, a local band that are just fantastic band. And Dan's a drummer. And the first thing I took away from the mix is how good that snare is. The snare is so good, drives the entire energy of the track, and it's produced perfectly, I think. They couldn't have done anything to that snare. It just, you go back and listen to it and you know exactly what I'm talking about. The whole energy comes from the crack of that. It's not even that much of a pop snare, but it's just awesome. And I know Dan's a big fan of the Valhalla reverbs, and that snare reverb tail is, again, I just think Dan's done a fantastic job. I think it's an amazing song. So Andy, awesome job, mate. It's my favorite song I've heard in a while. And the guitar that sits nicely in the background that is like saturated with chorus, but it works perfectly for this kind of music. And there's a little touch of overdrive, I think, if I'm not mistaken, with the guitar chain, but I just loved it. And I had to really sit and think, like, what would I have added to the session if I was there? And musically and production-wise, honestly, I was kind of I just enjoyed it. So I was like, if I enjoy it, why would I change anything? But one thing I would have done from a music marketing point of view is I'd have got rid of the word fuck in the chorus, because immediately, well, think about it, like the radio's not going to play it.
Yeah, true. You need what's it called? A radio version or something
Yeah,
like that.
and I speak from past experiences with my old band. We had a song that we really thought could explode, and same with this. I really believe that if people heard this, no one would dislike it. So it could explode. But the thing that dragged us down was we had the swear word in there. We also had the word fuck. So we tried to get it on every European major station. They would not take it. So that's the only thing that I would have
Mad.
changed.
And yet you've got like nowadays that Cardi
Oh,
B
wow.
song, which is
That absolute nonsense.
that's
Yeah.
absolute filth.
It's not only filth, it's just bad music. All right. Like, it's
yeah.
terrible. And then
Yeah,
something like this
not a fan.
that really could, like, no matter how old you are, you're going to like the song.
Yeah, true.
Uh,
There's something
yeah.
like just fundamentally like that kind of triggers an emotion in your brain that makes you like it. Like it's
Exactly.
that's what the hook is, right? That's the emotional. Oh, I'm into this, and I definitely got that as well, Tom.
But
Definitely.
yeah, also, like, I say that's the one thing I would have changed, but adding that word in there gives it impact. And, like, why would you change it?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's just coming from me being like, what would I have done if I was sitting there with Andy? I'd have been like, maybe we change that word. But again, it adds emphasis, it adds power, it adds depth to that chorus. Yeah. So maybe I should just shut up and let you speak.
So fuck it.
Exactly.
So fuck it and keep it fucking in.
Yeah. Fucking do it, mate.
Like I love this track, honestly. It's definitely like TV and film worthy. Like what I mean
Very
is
much.
it really suit like the background of like a Netflix, I don't know, you know, like a Black Mirror or something, where sometimes they do episodes that is back in like the 80s. Like that would fit right in there. So
Stranger Things.
yeah, just stuff like that, man. Like it would be just swallowed up. It's brilliant. It's already I've mentioned Phil Collinsy vibes, which I'm massively into. Love that introduction synth. And yeah, like I agree, it just set the kind of influence throughout the song. You know, it started off with the chorus hook. The bass in this song is unreal. I just loved it. I felt the bass in this rather than heard it because there was so much sub frequency.
Doesn't surprise me with Dan's production. Like honestly, like you'd like his stuff.
Yeah, it's like honestly that subby bass was just really thick, but it did not kill the mix at all. I just loved it. Really good. And the movement in the bass, I'm always banging on in this about movement and bass lines. I don't tend to like static basses unless, of course, it absolutely suits and it's like a ballad where you just need that kind of that plucked, long-held bass note. Fine with that, but this movement was beautiful. And yeah, just wanted to pay homage to that. Completely agree with, that the mixing, is it Dan? Done a brilliant job because it's sonically really well balanced and it sounds like it belongs in the 80s.
It does.
But with that commercial kind of, just that touch of bringing it into today, which I quite liked. So I don't know if Dan had referenced, 80s music when mixing it, but whatever he's done, the sonic balance kind of still represents what was true to the sound back then, which I think I would find it difficult if you told me, I want to mix an 80s song. I think I'd be too stuck in 2020 and I wouldn't be able to mix it to the kind of signature sound without really reference mixing hard against, classics like your Phil Collins, Easy Lover and all that kind of stuff. So, maybe Dan did that and it was really, really good. Yeah, the vocals, the vocal movement and the intervals in the verse, I loved. The harmonies in the chorus, opened up that chorus hook and just gave that massive chorus feel. Oh, yeah, honestly, I could keep going on, to be honest.
Yeah, me too.
And what I liked about the harmonies is there was plenty of them, but it didn't overpower the lead vocal. because I think Dan took out quite a lot of the low end in the harmonies and just sat them like nicely in that mid range behind.
It was the backup vocals were produced perfectly. There's a very airy. The high end has obviously been opened up, as you said, taking the low end away just to make room for that lead vocal
to sit nicely. Yeah,
it's just a great job. Fantastic song, fantastic production.
All round great job. I think like in terms of critique, it was hard again on this one. I'm a sucker for loud vocals, so I would have just brought the lead vocal up maybe a couple of dB just to smack me a wee bit more in the mix, because I'm just all about that vocal hook, like just totally loved it. And there was in the kind of introduction synth, there was just a slight bit of like popping and clipping at the end of like when he's obviously triggering the MIDI keys. So I would have just put like a really kind of quick release gate to treat that a bit, just to nicely tail end off the kind of the release of the synth. And that's really it from me. I couldn't think of anything else. I wouldn't want to change anything else. I'm not experienced at all with mixing this kind of music. So massive hats off. And in terms of that chorus, I will be waiting for the day that we can get this on our playlist, because it's not obviously going to be out. So we're not going to be able to add it to the 13th. See, I told you this would happen, Tom.
It's not even a Friday either.
Already messing up my words. We're not obviously going to be able to add it to our Spotify playlist, which is the Artist Spotlight Songwriters Lounge Spotify playlist. But as soon as we can, that's going to be on repeat.
Oh yeah, definitely. I just can't say enough how much I enjoyed the song. It's one of those songs, as soon as you hear it, you get those kind of songs where you hear them and instantly you're like, yep, I like it. I'm right in there.
I'm down.
Yep, I'm in there. That was this one for me. Yeah. I really think if you go about it the right way, Andy, you can take the song a long way in terms of the marketing, getting people to share it. Just put it everywhere, mate, because people won't get tired of hearing this song, which is a blessing. You say
Andy there, I'm like, is he talking to me?
Yeah, I'm not talking to you, all right?
Sorry, mate, sorry. It's not all about me for once. All right.
But yeah, great job, man. Really enjoyed it.
Top notch. On to the next one. Very different again. And we're going all the way to, is it Sweden, Tom?
Sweden.
Brilliant. So here we go with, I'm going to get the name wrong. You do it, Tom.
Well, I think it's pronounced Loidimo.
Loidimo. Right, we'll go with Loidimo.
Please tell us if we're wrong. Loidimo,
Please
Loidimo.
Tell us Loidimo if
I think it's Loidimo.
Loidimo.
That's also cool.
Equivalent. But yeah, here is his track, which I'm not even going to...
Oh, I'll try and say it because...
Right, you try and say it.
So the track is, well, Loidimo I'll tell you in a minute, but from an Englishman trying to speak Swedish. Utan, Några, Krav. Now let's hear how you actually say it.
Hey, Songwriters Lounge. What's up? This is Loidimo. I want to thank you so much for a great podcast. That's amazing. I love it. And I want to thank you so much for featuring my song. It's amazing. Great. So you're about to listen to my latest single called Utan Några Krav. And in Swedish, that means without any demands. And it's basically about two people hanging out without any demands, loving each other unconditionally, accepting each other unconditionally, and just living in the moment, hanging out, making love, having a great time. And I think that's what we need in today's society. We're living in a fast society when we're not living in the moment. That's pretty much why I wrote it. So enjoy. Lots of love.
Över 4, hemma i min lya när hon messar mig. Hon undrar vad jag gör, frågar om hon stör, om allt är okej. Hon är ute med sina girls och bara gör sin grej. Hon säger hon är full som fan och hon behöver mig. Hon vill göra allt som vi gjorde sist. Det var rätt kinky, freaky shit, yeah. En blandning av smäck och smisk. Låter som en perfect mix. Kan vi chilla och leva nu idag? Utan några krav, utan några krav. Kan vi chilla du och jag och leva nu idag? Utan några krav, utan några krav. Kan vi chilla du och jag och leva nu idag? Utan några krav, utan några krav. Kan vi chilla du och jag och leva nu idag?
Yes.
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 Yeah, like just all 3 tracks today have been
Smashing.
exceptional, and I love songs in other languages. And this is a Songwriters Lounge first. Our first song we played that's all in another language, in Swedish, with little bits of English sprinkled in there, but mainly in Swedish.
So we didn't understand a word in...
Yeah, we had to get Loidimo on to read the lyrics to us.
So you could...
Yeah. I mean, he did a great job of explaining the song, to be fair, so it puts you in that mood straight away.
To be honest, he did. He did a really good background story, so thanks for that, my man.
Yeah, and really, really nice voice. Again, another nice voice on the show. Like, very nice natural richness and depth to the voice, carried with a nice melody. Like, the melody is so catchy. Again, another catchy melody. This week has been fun. Again, so much air on those chorus harmonies. Like,
so much
same
air.
production job. Take the whole low end away and just open that. Maybe multi-band compress that top end as well, just to bring that air out a little bit. And they've done it brilliantly. And I love the panning on the hi-hats in the chorus. Start on the left, go to the right, come to the center. Go to the left, go to the right.
That.
Oh yeah, listen to it again. It's awesome.
That's cool. A bit of movement there.
They're flying around everywhere, the hi-hats, which is great. And, the rhythm of the hi-hats changes. I love it when drummers and drums in songs kind of go half-time on, like the and go syncopated for a moment. I love it. I love the palm muted guitar, kind of the dun-dun-dun-dun-dun. Like, it's just really cool. And the guitar lead line in general, 2 really nice tones. Plenty of space for the effects in this track as well, and the reverb and the delay really add that ambience to the song, and I think that's what adds that kind of atmospheric, kind of sexier feel to the song, if that makes any sense at all. And I also like it that I noticed they've sampled in a whoop whoop, like a whoop whoop, like a I noticed that. That's really cool. I like cool little samples like that thrown in there.
Love a sample.
Just really love the track. The only thing I would say is I'm losing the bass a little bit in just the whole song in general. So I probably would have either saturated the bass bus. I'm not sure if it's a volume thing or it's just not sticking out in the mix enough.
I think it's a volume thing, because I've wrote that down as well.
It might be a volume thing, but I would have definitely tried saturating, and I would have also multi-band compressed the low end, just to bring the low end through on the mix bus itself, and just seeing what that does. But other than that, mate, really enjoyed the song. Just keep it up. I'd love to hear more stuff from you. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Yeah, totally. So I don't know what you thought, right? But we've had the 80s kind of Phil Collins vibe before. This took me to 90s boy band, but not in a bad way, just like that influence. See the kind of wide, high harmonies. That's, again, that's just visually where I'm going. But again, definitely not a 90s track. It's quite current, and there was a lot going on here that was 2020. So loved that kind of fusion in my brain that was happening. First thing I have noticed when listening to this track is it had really great space and depth in this mix, and it was a really wide mix. So he's really pushed that stereo image to the brim, and in particular, there was such a cool reverb on the snare with some late reflections. So like the snare would snap in the middle in the center image, and then like I don't know, like it was like a slap delay almost effect. So like maybe 80 milliseconds later to 100 milliseconds later on the right channel, you heard it as if it hit like the snare reflection hit like like it ricocheted off a wall or something. I just loved that. Like it was a bit quirky. I'm not used to it, and it's something like different in this mix that yeah, I just enjoyed. So like I said, side harmonies just great. Really like kind of, yeah, like you said, airy choral effect, really wide as well, so it opened up that chorus. And yeah, overall, the vocals were really well delivered, like really good tuning on it. I've kind of paid particular note to the fact that like when you're listening to it, it's like bang on tune. So, really well produced there. And yeah, like it was just balanced, it was clear, and I could hear every word, even though I couldn't understand it.
Yeah.
But yeah, like really enjoyed this track. And like Tom said, my critique area would be the bass. Just for me, it would have added that extra kind of low end warmth that just overall the sonic balance was just missing ever so slightly. And yeah, I think that's me really. So thank you very much. I'm going to give it a bash, right? I'm going to try and pronounce the song. Utan, Nagra, Utan, Några, Krav.
Yeah, man. I mean, it sounds about right. I wrote it out like phonetically, so I could say.
Like, I'm reading Tom's phonetic.
Yeah, if I got rid of that, let's see what you could do.
I know. So,
but thank you, man.
Yeah,
really,
thank you so much.
Really loved that track.
Beaut. Right, so time to go on to our questions. What you feeling like first, Tom? Songwriting or production?
Yeah, let's go with songwriting first.
Songwriting first. Cool.
Songwriting first.
So it was myself that asked the songwriting question last week. And the question I asked you guys is something that I've always been interested in and I've sometimes not stuck to, which is song structure. And you've got the typical, some people do say it's like A, B, C, B, I think it is. Or some people, say verse, bridge, chorus, whatever it may be and whatever way you work it. I was interested in what your song structure was like, how you went around building it, and just your general thoughts. So let's play our first one.
Hi everybody, I'm Tommy Che. I'm a singer-songwriter and based in the UK. I like simple song structures as I like to have a bigger range of possibilities to add arrangements on the songs, and I like to have a bigger range of possibilities to develop and stimulate my creativity as a producer and a sound engineer. Thank you everybody for listening, and cheers!
Cheers, mate.
Cheers, my man.
What a legend.
What a happy guy.
Oh, I want to meet Tommy.
Yeah, thank you, Tommy. That was a happy insight to your song structure. Simple as best. That's what came across.
Simple as best, yeah. Just go with the flow of the song.
Go with the flow. Right, so we'll play our next one from Kenzie Rose.
I think it definitely depends on the song. Some songs need bridges in order to fully flesh out the story that you're trying to tell, whereas others don't. The same goes for choruses. Some songs need a really catchy, repetitive chorus, and other songs might only need a line or two, maybe just a word that anchors the meaning and really gets the point across.
Yeah, I really like that, actually. That's
Me
a
too.
well-delivered point.
Yeah, that's a perfect way of saying it. It's well delivered. And I think it's something that everyone, myself, and I'm talking to myself here, you don't need a huge chorus in every song you ever write.
Yeah.
She's right. Kenzie's right. Like, sometimes you just need like one line.
Yeah.
It takes me back to a song we had a couple of weeks ago by Nico Eve, The Hunter.
Yeah, true.
Where she just, the one line, and this is how much her chorus like hit me, as I remember the line, she goes to bed and thinks about the rain.
Yeah.
Just like, wow, what a cool line.
Understated, simple, Yeah.
But yeah, that's a really, as Annie said, really nicely put answer. Thank you, Kenzie.
Well done, Kenzie. That was cracking. Thank you very much. On to the next one.
Hey guys, how's it going? Hope everything's good. Hope everyone's happy and healthy. Just wanted to respond to the question about songwriting structure. For me, gosh, this is definitely one area where I think I like to let the song kind of write itself. It depends on the mood of the material, and it depends on, what you end up discovering for chord progression. I like to kind of let rhyme scheme figure itself out and song structure figure itself out. Just depending on what kind of hook or what kind of material I'm trying to write on. So I hope that helps, and I hope you guys have a great one.
Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Sarah. Always a pleasure.
Always a pleasure.
Yeah, and I agree with every word you said again. The theme seems to be just trust the song and trust the flow, which I really like. And again, it's easy as a songwriter to forget that. So it's like knocking my own songwriting thoughts hearing these answers.
Yeah, I had a song, one of the songs released this year actually, with a singer that I featured down south. I don't think it has a chorus. Like, even though people refer to like the main kind of bit where all the synths and drums go, and my song Hypnotize Me as the chorus. But again, like, I just wrote that just off of feels, and it wasn't a typical song structure. So yeah, I kind of did what Sarah said there. So I can relate, Sarah.
There we go, Sarah.
Thank you. On to the next one.
I don't really have a go-to structure. I feel like I probably mostly stick with the standard A, B, A, B, C, B, but I don't try to limit myself.
Don't limit yourself. Yeah, that's important.
Yeah,
Definitely.
yeah. I think I do the exact same thing as that. Like, I try and stick to A, B, A, B, C, B, or A, B, C, B, A. I've done at times, and I've added a third verse on the end there. But
really,
yeah, I did in a song that I released a while ago. We had a third verse on the end there, and it kind of rounds off the song
that's
nicely.
Cool. Yeah, that's cool.
And again, it just follows the story. So I agree. Again, the song, just whatever the song and the story need. And that was another one that just makes you think. Yeah, no, everyone has their own way, and I love it.
Totally. Thank you, guys. That was a well-rounded set of answers that we got submitted there. So thank you very much indeed. That was brilliant.
Yeah, I loved hearing them as well. Like, there's definitely some themes propping up in all these answers we do every week, but it's also good because it inspires me. I don't know about you guys listening, but hearing what other people say does help. Helps me a lot, actually. Even from the fact, like, a couple of weeks ago, like, we would ask about lyrics, and they were like, "Oh, I like to keep a notebook nearby," and that came up a couple of times. So, like, when I bought myself a little notebook just to keep, like,
there it is.
Yeah, here it is. There's proof. You guys can't see listening, but the video, go check out my little red notebook.
Tom's little red book.
My little red book. But yeah, again, just thank you guys. It's always a pleasure having you on the show and hearing your thoughts.
Always. Yes, absolutely.
So let's move on to the production question. And this time it was a question that I asked, and it's, again, from a drummer's point of view, as a producer as well, how do you make your drums pop in the mix? And we asked a few people to write into us and let us know if they have any tips, tricks. Maybe there's a go-to plugin or a go-to technique. So yeah, let's hear what some of you said. Thank you, guys.
So this first one's from Sam.
Being honest, I don't use that much drums, and when I do, I often use them more as an atmospheric thing, like really low-end kicks that you don't really hear, you just feel, and like little perks that just almost just mark the offbeat very subtly. You don't really notice it, but in the occasions that I do use drums and I want them to pop, them to like stick out, my secret sauce, well, the thing that I would, not that it's really secret sauce, but saturation is just great. So either using a saturation plugin, or even you can use like guitar amp sims sometimes work quite well on the drum bus. Yeah.
Yep.
Yes.
Saturation is a must.
Absolutely.
Got to
With
be on that drum bus. Got to
like
be.
I said it today in Red's song, you know, like saturation, like you don't even need to touch the volume of some of these things. Add a saturator, turn it up a little bit, it sticks in the mix more. And it gives it that sonic balance that you need in the mix just by adding a saturator. And I completely agree, mate. Completely agree with you.
Totally agree. Fantastic.
Yeah.
No further questions.
Spot
on to the
on.
next one.
Nicely done.
Next one is from Mark Thomas.
I know how this is going to come off, but bear with me. Truth be told, if you have an amazing drummer on an amazing kit in an amazing room with great gear and great engineering, you literally have to do almost nothing more than your automation moves to make them pop. The first time you get a session to mix from a major artist or someone with a large budget, and you solo up the drums to take a first listen and form your battle plan, you're almost baffled at how good the drums sound. That being said, if you're not working at that level of material, you have to work about 10 times as hard, usually with drum samples and a lot of tricks, to make them pop and sound that good. Here's your tip. The drums are pretty much the most dynamic instrument in an entire mix, regardless of the genre. So if you want them to pop like you would, say, the lead vocal, you've got to treat them as such and ride those faders. Yes, usually all of them. Professional mix engineers automate drums, period. Here's how I do it. On every song I care enough to mix properly, especially when you're getting paid to do it. Once you've made your EQ and comp decisions, solved any other problems, got your mix sitting where you're fairly happy with a good overall drum balance throughout the song, and you're ready to start volume automation, then start at the top with your overheads first, then kick, then snare, then toms, then other cymbals as needed, maybe rooms if you've done some interesting processing to them. Got questions? Hit me up, www.hitgaragerecords.com.
What a legend.
Yeah, thank you, mate.
So much, man. That was like a really well discussed answer. I got a lot from that. I mean, from automation to be scares me a wee bit, because I start to feel like I lose control in the mix, because I've got all my dynamics controlled and I've got all my mix controlled, and then when I start to ride the automation faders, I feel like am I pushing things too much towards clipping and all that kind of stuff. So I probably need to do a bit more automation myself, definitely.
Yeah, another thing I liked about that answer is it hit every range. It hit from the professional producer getting professionally engineered. What we mean by the word engineer is an audio engineer setting up mics, getting levels for the mics properly with the producer in the booth, like figuring out the placement for the mics, everything a good engineer does. And he's right, like if you have a good engineered session, you don't have to do too much to it. And that being said, if you've got like poorly engineered session, like it just hit every aspect of what you need to hear. And like, I've never thought about automating the kick. That's one thing I've never thought about doing, but like
I don't think I've ever automated. Well, actually, I tell a lie. I think in the run up to like drops and transitions, I think I do automate the kick at that point. But yeah, I don't do an awful lot of automation on the drum bus. It's usually the other.
Yeah.
Avoid
on the overheads. I always automate the overheads, knock it up a dB or two for the choruses, knock it back down, etc. But no, like I don't surgically go in there, and I think that's a really good tip. Another great tip that I learned was when you record, have a mono room mic in the room if you're recording real drums, and just place it kind of with the other room mics, but this one, keep it in mono, and then just destroy that mono signal coming in. Compress the hell out of it, absolutely obliterate it, saturate it to hell, and it adds so much energy. And when you listen to it on its own, you're like, this is horrible.
Yes.
But in the mix, so good.
So it's kind of like parallel compression almost.
Kind of, but you're doing it with the mic. You're doing it with the
actual signal.
And goes back to what Mark was saying about a good engineer. Like good engineers set up their mics like that so the producer can then go in and be like, okay,
an
well,
option.
I can distress this to hell, put it through 5 compressors, and it just brings so much energy to the mix when it's mixed in well. So, what a great answer, Mark. Thank you, man.
Great answer. Thank you so much, my man. On to the next one.
Yes.
Hi, this is Daniel Minrick, session bassist here in Indianapolis. So the question is how to make drums pop in a mix, how to make them sound real good. So my take on it is everything. Just begin with the source. Do the drums sound amazing? Have the heads been changed? Are cymbals not broke? Are you playing with a proper and healthy components, on a kit? If you have a good session drummer, too, that knows how to finesse the kit that they want, ultimately, that's really going to make your job a lot easier. I don't by any means claim to be an amazing engineer, but I can tell you that as long as the drums themselves sound amazing, capturing them honestly isn't too difficult. As far as anything that I do in post, though, depending on how the drums do sound, I may do like a blend with some samples. Try to not go overboard on that, though. I really like the sound of a natural drum kit to come through. And other than that, for me, the most beneficial thing that I learned was really becoming acquainted with a compressor, how to use it, how to not use it. So hopefully this helps you guys, and let me know if you need any other audio clips, and look forward to hearing the next cast. Take care, guys.
Love it.
Thank you, mate.
Yeah. Samples is a big thing I've used.
Yeah, I would always, if I was recording a real drum kit, I'd probably always mix in some samples to taste behind everything. But I agree with Daniel, like, I want to hear the drum kit. I don't want to hear, or I would have just, wrote the drums in and programmed it all.
Yeah.
But it's hard. Like, he's spot on with saying make sure the drums are in tune, the right heads are on, and it's all about the drummer. Like, one thing I learned the real hard way in one of my first studio sessions was I went in there like pretending I was playing live, and smashing the cymbals as hard as I could.
Yeah.
And I remember the producer being like, "What are you doing?" Like,
really?
Wait, and he said this. He was like, "When you play live, you're playing to energy and the energy of the crowd. When you're in a studio, you're playing to this mic here.
Oh, true.
It doesn't want to hear you play it." And it's the same with an acoustic guitar. You don't want to be smashing the heck out of it. Treat it nice. And the mics pick up everything, as we know, being producers. They pick up every plosive, every little S, everything.
Yep.
It's the same with a cymbal. And like, a lot of the time, cymbals are untreatable when a drummer is just smashing the heck out of them. And if you don't work with a producer that's willing to give you those tips, then how are you going to know?
That's a really good tip. That's like, that's interesting, man. I've always wondered as well, when people track drums in the studio, how the hell they hear the music, because it's so loud to like drum.
It's like, so, that was my one thing. I found it so hard to keep to the click because I couldn't hear the click.
Exactly.
I've got the headphones on, then I have like, like the builders kind of, the red, the earmuffs, I'd have them on over it as well. And that kind of helped. But unless you have actual in-ears that are designed to your ear, it's so hard. Or if you have the click so loud that it's bursting your eardrum, it's really hard. And like I never really enjoyed drumming in the studio because I found that I had to dull down my playing to keep to the click, but the style of music we played was you had to be tight. Yeah. So I learned a lot in the studio, and a lot of things that like I didn't enjoy, and I got called out a lot by the producer. But now I'm thankful that he did that. Constructive criticism is always good. Yeah, totally. With no patience whatsoever. Like, imagine that. Yeah, we recorded in the same studio that Architects did all their albums. Oh.
Beautiful.
And you know
band.
how good he is as a drummer.
Oh, unreal drummer.
So like,
unreal.
You know, I recorded in the same room as him, same mics, same producer, and he was very like, he would just completely stop the record and be like, "You've lost the click again, start again," and I was like, and that shits you up when you're in the studio. You're like, whoa, like,
yeah, you're not used to
it.
it.
We're going again, and like all of our songs were like the click was like 190, like da 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 da. You're like, wow, where are we?
You're chasing it.
Yeah, luckily I powered through and got some good recordings.
Yeah, cool. What's your number one thing then, Tom, that you use to make the drums pop? Unless we've heard it already, kind of thing.
Yeah, that mono room mic.
The mono room thing, yeah.
You can't go wrong with it. You can't, even if you had no idea what a compressor was and you're just playing with it, you can't go wrong with it. Because if you mix it, it's all about like blending it in with the other drums.
Blend it in the right amount, yeah.
It just adds so much energy. And you lose it in the overall mix as well.
Yeah. I'd say for me, my kind of number one go-to is parallel compression. Just like, it's a kind of, again, it's a saturation technique, isn't it? Where you just thicken that drum bus right up. And sometimes I limit my drums quite hard as well if I want them to really smack. Like, I found as well, like, limiting hard a kick can be quite effective. It depends. Like, you don't want to obviously squash it so much that you like take away the kind of attacking too much, etc. But
yeah, I mean, yeah, you're right. And a nice little tip, especially because Black Friday, get an LA2A plug-in. You don't have to go get hardware, of course. That's $5,000. Get a plug-in. There's a company called Black Rooster Plugins or Black Rooster Audio. They have an LA2A that is exceptional, and it's only $15 or I think £18.
All right.
And put an LA2A on the snare, put it in limit mode, and just
crank it up.
Crank up the peak reduction, crank back the output gain. Let it do all that limiting, and the snare really does pop through.
Oh, nice. There you go. Top tip, guys.
There we go. Best $15 you'll ever spend.
Yeah. Well, that rounds up our episode, number 13.
Oh, we need to give next week's questions, Andy.
Oh, God. What am I like? Right. Before we go, we're going to give you next week's questions. Absolutely. Do you want to go first, Tom, or will I?
Yeah, sure. So I've got next week's songwriting question. And this is not a tip question. This is nothing like that. I just want to know who is your favourite songwriter, or who are your favourite songwriters and why?
Oh, I love that question.
Just want to know, there's no songwriting tips, but I want to know who your favourite songwriters are.
Who's inspired you? Oh,
Perfect.
That'll be interesting. I'm looking forward to those submissions. Cool. My question is, how do you tackle your track's sound design when you produce?
Ooh.
Because that is always a tough one, and that's something that I'm always never happy with. But in order to start a track, I need to cut at some point. Otherwise, I could spend 10 hours straight messing about with samples and synths and all sorts, and still not be fully satisfied with the newest sound or anything. But I'm interested to see what you guys do when you tackle your track's sound design. And I don't just mean that in like electronic sense, I mean that as well in the band sense or in the acoustic sense. How do you guys deliberately tackle your sound design?
Great question.
Thank you.
And now that's the end of the episode, Andy.
And now that's the end of the episode. Woo! Yeah, so like we always say, guys, we want you guys to send us your answers, DM us on Instagram, or send us your voice notes to submissions@songwriterslounge.net via email, of course. And we'll play your answers, just like we have this episode, back to our audience. And we just love listening to you guys and playing it to the audience. And I know that a lot of people are messaging us as well, saying that they're enjoying listening to all the different people's opinions and insights. And that's what it's all about. So get them in, send us your thoughts, your techniques, or your, in Tom's case, your favourite songwriters, and tell us why. And let's get you on the show.
Absolutely, guys.
So thank you so much, guys, and we shall check back with you next week.
We'll see you next week, guys. Have a great week and take care of yourselves. Have a good Thanksgiving.